right, at 7:16, Rick is in the newsroom. Good morning.
Yes, Andrea, thank you. The prosecution in the trial of the former Phoenix police officer Richard Chrisman rests this case, and he is accused of shooting and killing an unarmed man who was not threatening him, according to the testimony and according to reports. The defense begins its case next week, so joining us is prominent Valley attorney Dwane Cates to kind of weigh in on this. So the first question I guess I'll ask you is, how did the prosecution do?
Well, good morning, Rick. The prosecution did pretty well. They did what they had to. Juan Martinez is a good defense attorney. I mean, a good prosecutor.
Oh, yeah.
I may not always agree with his tactics, but he's really good at what he does, and he put on a decent case. The whole case is there's only two people. There's the two officers. There's Chrisman, and then there's the backup officer, and it's his word. It's a swearing contest between the two officers.
Right.
And the state did a good job of putting their portion up.
I've been on a jury where police officers were involved, of course, in a case, crime arrest, and the jury has a tendency to go to believe the police officers. They're kind of like our heroes, people are keeping us safe. In this case, you have two police officers. One's purported the bad guy, one's the good guy. How would you think the jury reacts to that?
Juries aren't so quick to believe police officers anymore in light of the recent news.
Right.
10 years ago they believed them a lot more. In this case, it's going to I don't see how Chrisman cannot take the stand. Unless they find some way to tell his story without him taking the stand, he's going to have to get up and testify.
That was my next question, because normally defense attorneys don't like to have their guy take the stand, right?
Yeah, we always try to find a way to tell the story without the defendant taking the stand.
Yeah.
Because when they do, there's just so many variables that you can't control from the cross-examination that it's real risky.
Going up against Juan Martinez in this case. What do you suppose was the most damaging testimony so far?
Well, it was the other officer saying that there was no threat when he shot. They're saying the dog wasn't attacking when he shot, and they're saying that the victim didn't attack. And so, shooting somebody when they're not threatening you or coming at you, that's murder.
So the defense now takes the case probably beginning Monday next week. So they have to prove that Chrisman was a good officer in protecting his life and the life of his fellow officer.
That's correct. They're going to have to prove that he felt threatened. It's not that other people thought he should have felt threatened, whether he himself thought he was threatened, and it's going to involve everything that he knew about that situation, everything that happened before, everything that happened during, and he's going to have to convince a jury that he was justified in feeling threatened, and he had to shoot to save his life.
Okay. Dwane Cates, thank you very much. Prominent defense attorney here in town. Always great to see you. And so we'll be watching this case when it resumes next week.
All right.
In the meantime, Andrea is going to introduce Christy, who's got weather.
You got that right.
Pass it on down the line.
Passing the baton.
Passing the buck, as they say.
Yeah.